Shawn Pomrenke, aka Mr. Gold, who was born in Nome, Alaska, seems to be rather passionate about his fascinating hobby of diving for gold. But this season, Shawn set his mind along with his Christine Rose to acquire a pot of gold for almost 1,000 ounces of underwater gold. Would he come back with the greatest riches acquired by him, or would it be a huge fail? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to discuss Shawn Pomrenke's journey on finding gold. Driving 7 miles to the west on the 𝐂𝐏𝐒𝐑𝐈𝐒 claims, the offshore gold miners asserted they moved along their spot on full stream ahead to the digging grounds. There was a big reason for Shawn's confidence in gaining a whole pot of gold on his quest, as all of his previous contenders seemed to have been successful in making him quite rich. Coming back to Shawn, along with Christine Rose on their way to making big bucks on their first ever attempt on digging 1,000 ounces. This is not the first time Mr. Gold is chasing after such a huge amount, but truth be told, he already has about 650 ounces of gold. Yes, you've heard that right. This was summed up to a worth of 780 grand in total. After reaching the spot where Shawn and his crew previously had a big cleanup by clearing the bed of a harbor river or other area of water by scooping out mud, weeds, and rubbish with a dredge. Shawn Pomrenke is the former owner of the self-named gold mining company Pomrenke Mining. He is a professional dredger and once captain of the dredging ship Christine Rose. Shawn has broken multiple records, personal and public, on digging out the most gold known to humanity, posing as the root of his popular nickname Mr. Gold. Pomrenke is no joke when it comes to digging out gold. As a professional in the field, he goes as far as even jumping through holes in the ice to suck up gold from the frigid waters of the Bering Sea every winter. Now that's extreme, and not something everyone can just set up their mind to do. There were numerous reasons as to why Shawn decided to take up this as a lifetime profession. During his youth, Shawn's father, Steve, would teach him everything he needed to know about mechanical skills. This helped him a lot when it came down to building his own gold mining empire. Gold mining in the Caribbean seems more believable than mining gold in the frigid waters of the Bering Sea with no equipment. But what seems like an impossible task is actually quite calming for Shawn. As he says on the podcast, "It's just me and the gold down there." But all this did not protect Shawn from what seemed like close calls to death. Shawn experienced multiple life-endangering threats, but that did not stop him from gaining what he wanted. There were times when Shawn's equipment failed because compressors, pumps, and such don't work well in the kind of cold weather common in the subarctic Nome in the winter. And there were also times when he would run out of air and nearly suffocate to death. Shawn Pomrenke also had his fair share of dreams when it came to building his own dredge. He called it the Mega Dredge. He plans to train others how to use it and then retire and sail around the world. Due to how remote the city is, the people there are very adventurous and self-sufficient. He intends on forming the next generation of gold miners in his home city of Nome. Shawn also shares his stories on multiple podcasts and videos, along with tips and tricks on how he collects the gold and gives tips on what he had learned throughout his life. Resuming back to digging, Shawn Pomrenke does not let anything get in his way as he overcomes numerous dredges, buoy-off areas, and flame areas. But that wasn't all. It was almost as if the water body was swarmed with dredges with only one thing in mind: warding off all claims. Never in Shawn's lifelong experience has he ever come across these many dredges. In fact, one dredger started stretching rope lines to mark off turf. This caused a moment of panic among everyone, as these many dredges may mix up the gold, and the lines across the water are a hazard to navigation. This also gives out a subsequent situation of when a bunch of kids are going to come over here and with the lines, thus flipping the boats, resulting in accidental murder. At last, Shawn and his crew came up with the only solid solution that would get them the gold they want and would not cause harm on their boys. Since they could not move their whole spot in there, they've decided to spread out and then continue the digging. While some were moving boys somewhat deeper to do the digging to dig out the gold. The digging process was abruptly troubled as dredgers that seemed to have surrounded the area raised the competitive spirit, trying to bring Mr. Gold down. Shawn Pomrenke does not seem to mind it, rather is skilled enough to dodge the obstacles, his mind set on only the gold that he risked everything to attain, and that is the sole aim of this mission. While they were in the middle of moving the buoys, another mining crew came interrupting the process. As you can see in this clip, another mining crew comes forth in a small boat. Shawn does not look amused at the sight of it, but the latter claims they do not wish to interrupt on Shawn's mission. But all they ask is to respect the boys and where they are. Unfortunately, to their displeasure, Shawn refuses the same and says that since it's hindering his mission, he is going to remove it. Shawn proceeds to move all the buoys that's on his way and talks about how the previous mining crew offended him. He said, when people's lives are at stake, you don't screw around the boat. He's got some heavy anchors on the bottom that had just ripped off the motor off the boat. It could kill someone. In this clip right here, as we can see, Scene sets up the barge right in the middle of the other crew's rope line. According to him, he isn't worried about the small guys as he sees them as a bunch of little flies that try so hard to get in the way, but he just keeps whacking them away. Following the intense search, Scene takes a few test fans. His findings excite him as the material he picked up doesn't seem to look like it has been dredged. He orders his crewmates to take the material and put it in a bucket and fire it up, in hopes of it turning yellow and therefore making gold. He then shows off his generous side, moving aside to let the other mining crew get the rest out of a small land, so as to not let them return back disappointed. But at the end of the day, Shawn wants to become the one who collected the most gold pit of all and proceeds to dig the entire land. After a while, Scene goes over to check the box, which is essential to know whether they have made progress or not. Shawn's box had been modified and fine-tuned to where it just runs like a fine-oiled machine now, so there's no hindrance when it comes to the machine's capability. They later heated up all their findings on a huge bucket and waited there admiring at their 651 ounces of gold. Just 349 more ounces, and they could break their own personal record of collecting the most amount of gold. As you can see in this clip right here, Shawn and the boys are looking to put another major tally up on the board. But Shawn was not satisfied. He demanded that they need to get as much gold as humanly possible. So far, they have seemed to get 120 hours on the box, but that did not seem to pass Shawn's bar of satisfaction. He wanted to raise it up to 150 ounces. In the next clip, we can see the members holding up a vessel filled with what seems to be tiny chunks of actual gold. They fill the gold into a glass jar through a funnel while weighing the amount of gold obtained. The anticipated looks on all the people's faces makes the wait for the end results even more exciting. They wait patiently as the amount increases little by little, while the loud clunks produced by the gold chunks falling into the jar are heard in the background. The number goes up little by little until it reaches a solid 176.50 ounces. The members seem overjoyed by the accomplishment, as the amount they'd get from the jar would be around $212,000 in total. The members may receive a handsome amount for their generous contributions to the mission and the overwhelming sweet scent of success spiraling around the pristine rose. Are there any other major discoveries or major accomplishments that we haven't heard of? Comment down below and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more.